Nitika, and they have joined us today. Nitika, would you introduce some of the people from the DYC who have joining us today? Can you let us know? I can see Dr. Asit, but please go on.
Yes, Mansi. So we have Dr. Asit here. We have Vedika, Hetal. We have Kaustubh who's here, and
Kaustubh was also
Neelam.
one of our honorees.
Yes.
During Kubera, right, Kaustubh?
Yeah, that was on resourcefulness, I think.
Yes, that was Kubera. Yes, it was on ecosystem and resourcefulness. So glad to that you're continuing this journey with us. So amazed by that. Yes, Nitika.
Yeah, and we have Neelam with us. We have Anamika. Anamika is another Quanto, but she's this time also decided to go for the Dissolve Your Conflict program.
That is awesome. Anamika was also an honoree at our program at the Deva Magic. And we have a celebration, right, Nitika? There is so all our DYC graduates, we have a celebration from them on Saturday at what time?
9 p.m. Mansi, 9 p.m. So everyone is invited. We will be our participants will be graduating. So it is very encouraging if you all come join us. It will be very
and
good.
Hear their stories. And here, I mean, I personally find it so inspiring because they have so many shifts, inner shifts, as well as outward shifts. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. And we have Anil also, Mr. Anil Mehta. He's also joining us today. I'm very excited to have all of them join us today. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining.
This is such a talented, successful batch of people that we have, participants we have in this Dissolve Your Conflict, and I can't wait for them to take the next quantum leap. Really excited to have them.
Thank you, Mansi. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining in.
Shivo, can we get started? We also have a Deva Magic group. In case you're not a part of it and you would like to be a part of it so that you're updated on all our programs, I request Rupali or Atin to put the link, the WhatsApp link in our chat box. So people who want to join can join it.
Mansi, we can start?
Yes. So Pranam, Ola, welcome to everybody. I am Mansi calling in from sunny San Diego. And it's Tuesday, it's 9 o'clock, so it's time for Deva Magic. In Deva Magic, we have 3 sutras. We dissolve our subconscious, which is we try to dissolve our patterns, our conditionings. Hi, so I guess I got muted, but I invite everyone to please put themselves on mute. So I'll go with it. So we have 3 sutras for Deva Magic, and they are 1, dissolving your subconscious. And by subconscious, we mean all the patterns, all the conditioning, all the strongly held beliefs that are no longer working. We expand our field of consciousness, okay? And we also partner with the super conscious. That is, we partner with the devas, masters, even we have included scientists who are really ascended. Okay, so this is our Deva Magic program. And I'm just going to give a brief outline of what is going to transpire today. We are first going to dive into the Garuda essence through mythology, and we will have some questions. We had a very engaging WhatsApp chat discussion on what makes us victorious. What is the quality that makes us victorious? And Shivo will share his victory sutras, what he has observed through his personal experience, through psychic insights, and through history. He'll share that. we will honor people who are embodiments of Garuda energy. Okay, we have the embodiments of Garuda energy walking among us. I'm really excited to present and honor such amazing legends in their respective fields today. And finally, we will talk about the role of Garuda ji in creating a safe passage for people who have passed away and into, their liberation. A safe passage for liberation of souls who have passed away. This has become extremely important during the pandemic, especially because a lot of people are, they're kind of shocked into their death. And finally, there will be an invocation of Garudaji by Shivo. So let's get started. So we will start with the mythology of Garuda. And I'm going to ask a question to all of you after the story. Why did Vishnu choose Garuda as his Vahan? We all know Garuda is Vishnu's Vahan, but why was he chosen? And before I get into the mythology, just want to explain this triangle, because with Deva magic, we talked about the subconscious, the conscious, and the superconscious. So the subconscious is represented, the highest understanding of subconscious is represented by Sheshnak. Okay. The Nagas are very, they have very, very deep subconscious, but the Nagas also have the capacity of transcending the subconscious. And when they when they overcome their subconscious, they become fierce protectors, because they can see, if someone has, someone is vengeful, someone has guilt, someone has pain, someone has jealousy, someone is doing some black magic, they can sense all that. So this is the potential of a Naga. So a Naga typically has a very strong subconscious, but if they go beyond it, they become masters of it, and they are able to be fierce protectors. Okay, and which is why Vishnu always has Sheshnak protecting him. Because Sheshnak really can see the evil that is happening. And then we talked about the conscious, whatever we are conscious about. And the master of that is Garuda, okay? And Garuda is not just eagle, it is a being that is way higher. But even if you look at our eagles, they have the ability to see from the very top, and they have a really wide field of observation. So both these, now Nagas and Garudas are mortal enemies of each other at a normal level, but in Vishnu, in that super conscious, they integrate. Both these existential qualities, they integrate. Okay. So Shiva, would you like to add something on this, or should I proceed with the story?
Please go on.
Okay. So we'll talk about how we go into the mythology of what I said. So Kashyapa, the sage Kashyapa, and I'm going to ask you a question again. So sage Kashyapa, he had two wives. Okay, one was Vinata and one was Kadru. So both of them wanted children. Okay, they were really longing for children, and sage Kashyapa blesses them. Now Kadru has 100 eggs, and Vinata gets 2. And they are waiting for these eggs to hatch, and they're nurturing it. And one by one, Kadru's eggs start hatching. And out of them come these nagas or serpents, and she's nurturing them, playing with them. And Vinata sees this, and she's waiting. She's very, very anxious. She is very, very nervous. And she's like, when is this going to happen? She waits and waits and waits. And then she finally starts poking, she's like, oh, is this egg okay? She's poking and prodding. And finally she's like, okay, maybe I'll just see a little bit. And she makes a little poke. And out comes this being who's completely lustrous, who's red, with luminescence, but also he's angry. He's like, why did you do this? I am not fully formed. And she looks down at his legs, and yes, his legs are not formed yet. So, so he, he says that, that please, for your next egg, please wait. Okay, do not, it doesn't matter how long it takes. You please hold your nerves and you please wait for it. And now this person, this half-formed person, he becomes Aruna, who's the charioteer of a son. But now, because his mother did not have patience and was too anxious, the tej, the luminescence of Aruna is that of the sunrise sun, not the noon sun. His potential was probably to become as luminous as the noon sun, but he's somewhere halted there. But he ends up being a charioteer of Surya, right? And he, travels the world along with Surya. So now Vinata has learned her lesson. She waits. And one day comes Garuda. And they're really happy, Garuda, as you know. So now these mothers and the kids, they're just outside and they see this flying horse, okay? Ucha Ashrava. They see him. It's a brilliant white winged horse. They see him flying across the seas. And Kadru says, oh, but his tail is black. And Vinata says, no, his tail is white. So they, as they argue for a while, and then they make a bet and they lay a wager and they say that, okay, whoever wins this bet, the other person, the person who loses, becomes the winner's slave, okay? She and her children or child will become the other person's slave. So, so then the next day they are like, okay, we're going to find out. But at night, Kadru finds out that actually the tail is white. She doesn't want to lose, so what do? So she tells her children, okay, Nagas, I tell you that some of you, I want you to wrap yourself around the tail of this white horse so that the tail appears black. And they are like, no, mom, this would be wrong. We cannot do it. And she gets so mad that she curses them, that all of you will die at the sacrifice. You will be sacrificed in this yagna. Okay, so she curses them. So then they get very scared. They're like, okay, mom, we'll follow your orders. And this is also a Naga quality, like a lower Naga quality, where if they are not followed, then they demand loyalty. And if they're not followed, they'll even curse. Even a mother can curse, okay, the children. So the children, they go and they wrap themselves around the horse's tail. And, they, of course, take permission from this horse. So the next day, the horse is flying with these Nagas. And Vinata is right, yeah, y'all are right. His tail was black. So now Garuda and Vinata become slaves of Kadru. Now, this goes on for a very long time. And Garuda really wants freedom. So he asks them, how can we earn our freedom? What do we need to do? So they say, okay, you have to get us the pot of Amrit. Only then you and your mother are free. So Garuda says, okay. And he starts on his adventures. There are many adventures he goes through. But I will get to the adventure that he lands in Swarg and he gets the pot. Now, of course, Indra and everyone have been preparing to meet him because everyone's heard about his exploits. So he fights against Ashwini Kumars, he fights against all the Devas. Finally, he comes in front of Indra himself. And Indra sends out his Vajra, his thunderbolt made of Dadichi stone, bones. And when Vajra comes to Garuda, Garuda says that, okay, out of respect for sage Dadichi and you, I'm going to shed a feather. Okay, it cannot harm me, but I respect you both. I bow down to you and I shed a feather. So Indra is actually quite impressed. Okay, and Indra knows that he is no match for this being. So Indra says that, how do we do it? So Indra tells so Garuda shares his story, Indra shares that, in the scheme of things, we cannot let Nagas have this Amrit. So what do? So Garuda comes up with this strategy and he says that, see, I just have to give them the pot, right? He says, I just have to give them the pot. So Garuda takes that, a pot, and he puts it and he gives it to Kadru and the Nagas, and he says, okay, and he says, I'm done with my job. And she declares that both of them are free. Garuda and his mom both are free. And Garuda says, that this is the most holiest Amrit. Why don't you all take a bath in the river and then have the Amrit? And they agree. They go there. Meanwhile, Indra, Garuda has already fulfilled his promise. So Indra comes and he takes away the Amrit. There is a fight between the Nagas and Indra, but of course the Nagas lose. And the other thing that happened was that Indra is also seeing that Garuda did not take Amrit for himself. Like, he just fulfilled what was his promise. Now Vishnu sees all this from the top. He's seeing this whole thing. He's following this whole story, just like you all are. And he then gives boons to Garuda, and he says that, would you be my Vahana? To which Garuda, happily accepts. So my question to all of you is, why did Vishnu choose Garuda as his Vahan? So I'd love to see your answers on chat. Okay, so Mukul says for his strength, he is one of the strongest beings in the entire universe. Dr. Asit says honesty and trust. Yes, he did keep his word, strong, loyal. Okay, Rupali. Sanjoy says a just being who fulfills his mother's promise. But see, Sanjoy, even the Nagas fulfilled their mother's promise. See, the loyalty, even the Nagas were loyal. Sneha says for his integrity and strength. Actually, you all are right in some way. Vishnu is all about sanskara and Garuda showed it. Very good. Latika said because he can hold on to his nerves and think and strategize even in pressure. Swapnesh says fulfill tasks for becoming independent. Lata says strength, honesty, and clear vision. Keshav says vision and farsightedness. Sanjay says Garuda did not drink the Amrit. Yes. Acceptance, says Kavita. Daljinder says he knows how to keep his promise and understands the bad from good. Hetal says for his determination, strength, and honesty. Kavita says gratitude. Manali says he fulfills his promises without playing with anyone directly and is strong and loyal too. Rachna says selflessness. These are all amazing answers. Nitin, I think you sent me a private message by mistake. But Nitin, you say not using the Amrit for himself, selflessness. Thank you, Rupali, for loving the story. Me too, I love the story. Kavita says farsightedness. So, Shivo, would you like to enlighten us why he chose? I think these are all brilliant answers. Would you share your perspective?
Yes, so Vishnu is the one who nurtures the world and ensures the survival. And he needs immense mental strength. So, one thing Vishnu needs is a protection from the Asuric forces, which we can say, okay, Naga forces. So, he has the Sheshnak with us as protector. So, we have always seen that, whenever Vishnu takes avatar, Sheshnak also comes with him. So, what is the role of Sheshnak? Whether he comes as Lakshman, whether he comes as Balram, The role is to make him, because Vishnu is very aware of the world, okay, but he is not very aware of the hidden motives of people, and it is the Seshna who makes him aware of the hidden motives of the people. So he can protect but does not give the strength. So who gives the strength is Garuna. Now Garuna, the quality of the Garuna is that he has immense trust in life, and even though he faces the extreme challenging situations, sometimes he faces things which are very unfair, and yet he has very deep trust in life, and yet he operates from a very deep consciousness. So Garuna is actually the mental strength of a conscious person. And we asked this question on WhatsApp: what is the victory sutra? And there were a lot of great answers. All answers are correct. But one thing I would like to share here is there is a moment in which a hero emerges. There is,
Shivu, can I share some of the things that they have said? Can I just acknowledge them?
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Because it's really, I want to acknowledge everyone who participates in the WhatsApp discussion when we put an inquiry, because that is what starts creating the energy for today. And everything that we are doing today is to build up the energy for the Garuda invocation. Each moment is complete in itself. The whole journey is important, but we are also building up for experiencing this Garuda energy ourselves. So I really want to thank everyone who participated. Rupali said courage is the most important thing. Kavita said acceptance and gratitude. Atan said moving from comfort zone. Chetan said vision and knowledge, communication, collaboration. Anamika says clear vision, purity of intention. Mukul says blessings, clarity, courage. Hemant says victory and defeat are both the sides of the same coin. Manoj says great gratitude. Sachin says raising our vibration. Rohini says, ability to accept change and continuous learning. Preeti says ability of right vision and way to implement it. Uh, Amaya says action. Manisha says ecosystems, holding on to nerves, and so on. We have Shobha, Lata, Daljinder. So really appreciate all of you sharing. Yes, Shiva.
Yeah, so all answers are correct. But also the truth is that the hero emerges in a specific moment. There is an extreme crunch moment, and hero faces that and emerges winner. It is that one moment which makes or breaks it. And India is a nation of cricket lovers, so we have seen that how hero emerges. So there's a very crunch situation. There's a cricket match going on, and there are 3 wickets are remaining or 2 wickets remaining, and there are 12 runs to be made, and there is this last one over, right? So now what matters? Who is going to win? Who is going to win in that uh, in that crunch moment? It is no more the question of who is good, who is better, who is a good batsman, who is a good bowler. It doesn't depend on that. It doesn't depend on your talent. The one who emerges hero in that moment is the one who can hold his nerves. And I will be explaining what is the meaning, what is the source of holding the nerves. But right now, what I want to say is that it is this moment, these kind of moments, which makes a person successful. Somebody may have all the talent in the world, all the resources in the world, and yet that success could remain very lukewarm. And the difference between a fascinating success and the lukewarm success is your ability to hold the nerves in those crunch situations. Yes, Mansi.
Shivu, could you could you go, we will have our honoring ceremony in around half an hour. Could you go into what are the victory sutras? Could we start going into that?
So I would like to explain four kind of sources. Okay, so first I would like to say is that, okay, I would like to ask, how many of you have faced crunch situations in life, make or break situations? There is a moment which comes, you can go through it and emerge victorious. Your life has changed forever. You couldn't go through it, and then you have to live rest of your life at in a lower orbit, right? Because the pressure of that moment, the stress of that moment was so much that you decide, sorry, I'm not made for it, I don't want to invite such moments again in my life, and then you accept a life which is lower than that. So do you see, it is that one moment which decided whether you will take a leap from one orbit to another, right? So has everyone faced that situation? Can you write in the chat box yes if you face those situations? Great, thank you. It's make or break. So your ability to go through such moments one after another, that I feel is the ultimate victory sutra, and that is what Vishnu writes on, right? So thank you very much. So okay, so now I would like to, I was thinking a lot about it, that from where these kind of nerves, the power of nerves, from where they come. And of course we are going to have honorees, 5 very distinguished honorees who have displayed great nerves in their lives, and they went through certain situations which were really extreme, and they held their nerves and they emerged as heroes. So we are going to interact with them and we'll hear from them. But I am just going to give my take in next 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes, of what gives us the power of nerves. Okay. The first source is self-belief, and it is very Naga-like. So you have so much belief in yourself that you know that you cannot lose. It is as simple as that. Come what may, I'm not going to lose. And that belief itself gives you huge strength, and you keep winning. And once you get into that kind of a belief system, things start to happen that way. And I would like to today give examples from history. So the best example I think I found for self belief was the Spartans, and they are known as the greatest fighters. Many of you must have heard about Sparta. They were a big rival of Athens. Um, so their quality was that there was a war where 70 Spartans defeated 3,000 of the army. Okay. And there was a time when Spartans, they enslaved a population. Yes, 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 Chetan. Was it 3,000, or I think it was 3,000, right?
Uh, no, Shivo, 300 were actual Spartans, but other people joined them, like their slaves and all. But the Spartans were 300. They didn't really count the slaves and all who participated in
Right.
the.
Okay. So 70 Spartans against, I think, 30,000 or something like that. I
Yes,
think
of the
against
Persian
10,000.
army.
Yeah, 70 Spartans against 10,000 of Persian army. I don't remember the exact figure, but it was like very, imbalance figure. So now, at one point of time, they enslaved their neighbors who were 10 times more in numbers. So you can just imagine two powerful tribes and one tribe enslaving the tribe which is 10 times bigger than them. So this was the power of Spartans, but their society was organized that way. And in fact, if you see the Hitler experimented a lot of these racial genetics and all, and Spartans were his inspiration, and he did a lot of eugenics experiments. So one example was that how Spartans organized their society, that they did not tolerate any kind of weakness. So if there is any child who is not enough strong, there would be a test of all the children born, and anyone who is not strong will be thrown from the cliff. That child will be simply killed. They would not tolerate anybody weak. And there there were stories like when Spartans went into war, they never wanted to come alive. They wanted to come back their dead bodies on the shields. And out of the story of 70 Spartans against 10,000, uh, I think there were three Spartans who were left. They remained alive and they felt so ashamed that they committed suicide. They did not want to go back alive because it was something shameful. Even the relatives and the family members who sent their members into the battle, they also prayed that that person doesn't come alive. That person comes back as a dead body on the shield.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
So, so that was Spartan society. Now it's very Naga-like. It doesn't matter I am right or wrong. I just have strong belief in myself. I am going to keep winning, keep winning, keep winning. Now there is a very big catch in this kind of power of nerves. Can you suggest me what is the catch in this? Where is the limitation of this? Okay, and you can also call this belief system as a very strong positive thinking. They will not allow a shred of negative thinking to come in. But can you suggest, I'm inviting your feedback on what is the limitation of this kind of a this kind of source of power of nerves? What is the problem with this? Anybody would like to take a chance and share what is the problem with this? What is the limitation? Okay, so the limitation is you lose just once. Correct. But the point is that, what is the, okay, I understand. It is not accepting other point of view. So why? So what? I'm victorious. Why should I accept others' point of view? So the problem is this. If you lose just once, only once, and then you get into that spate of defeats, and that's what happened with Spartans. They lost just one battle with Thebes, and after that they were simply destroyed. And the historians are very perplexed that how come that strong a society like Sparta destroyed itself just over a period of 300 years. And the reason was that in this kind of a belief, you need to make just one dent, only one dent. And then the way there was a series of victories, there will be a series of defeats. You can look at, all of you would be knowing a lot of people who have had very strong self-belief. You would realize that only one defeat was enough for them. And after that, their whole series of defeats started. Some people will say it is law of karma. Some people will say that in their self-belief, they did so much of the wrong karma that the moment that there was a dent, that whole karma came back to them. Okay, whatever. But this is what it is. If you have so much of the self-belief, then just one dent is enough to destroy you. It starts a series of destruction. So this is the first source of self-belief. Now, the second source of self-belief is when there is a conscious society, but it faces the survival issue. Everything is on the stake. So you would have seen that when somebody has put everything on the stake, that person will have a lot of power of nerves, come what may, whatever may be the situations that person will face, but he will, emerge victorious from that. So, another example there is how Britain fought against Germany in the Second World War. Hitler had already amassed military strength, which some people said was double than that of Britain. And he covered very nicely under great diplomacy, which the then British Prime Minister Chamberlain could not understand. And he thought that Hitler is a great friend. And he got, okay, so Churchill was there. Okay, so in one of the, I think on the Ma Saraswati session, uh, uh, I had mentioned five of the greatest observer as per my point of view, and one of them I had mentioned was Churchill, and another one I mentioned Gandhi, which I will be talking about in a short while. So now Churchill could see that what Hitler was doing, and he was warning, but people did not listen, and sometimes they also did not want to get into the fight. This happens very much with conscious people. They don't want to get into the fight. See, between the Germany and Britain was definitely more conscious. So this happens that more conscious people, they normally avoid the fight unless they are forced into. So the British kept avoiding that fight, but at some point of time, it became very apparent when Hitler started to annex the different territories, and especially I think it was Poland when he annexed. So that's when British realized that okay, danger is right there, you know, at our border, and now we are in big danger. That's when it was understood, and then Churchill is uh, took the reins as prime minister, and he awakened the whole nation, and so it was a fight for survival.
माझं इकडे येत नाही ना.
Yes. Yeah, so it was a fight for survival. So that is a second source of power of nerves when you're fighting for survival. Third source of nerves is that you have accepted the worst. Okay, at the most, what will happen to me? So, people are in the fight with someone who is very strong, and their conscience doesn't allow them to submit to them, so they fight. And they say, at the most, what will happen? I will get bankrupt. That is okay. I will get killed. That is okay. So when you are ready for the worst, you have a lot of nerves. So if you see what happens with Prahlad, he is ready for the worst. If he is thrown from the cliff, he says, okay, I will die, not a problem. But I am going to worship Vishnu and not my father Hiranyakashyap. If I am going to put in fire with Holika, it's okay if I burn. Yeah, but I will not compromise on my soul. So here person is ready to go to the worst. When person is ready to go through the worst situations, that is again gives you access to the power of nerves. But now I'm going to explain the best of all. Okay, so these are the three sources, but I'm going to explain the best, the most conscious one, where you actually access the reality, you actually access the power of consciousness. And that access to reality becomes your source of strong nerves. Okay, so I'm going to explain that with a very powerful example. Yeah, so again, I would like to explain some part of the life of Gandhi, my favorite observer. I mean, there are greatest of the observers. Many world has seen many great observers, and one of the greatest is definitely Gandhi. And when you are a great observer, like Vishnu is a great observer, that is when you come out with the best strategies. Best strategies are created by the greatest of the observers. And again, observation is a great quality of eagle or Garuda. So I will explain what is Gandhi and what was his great observation powers. So today, if you talk about Gandhi, there are very two strong camps. One is pro Gandhi, one is anti Gandhi. And, uh, both of them, arouse a lot of passion. But I feel that both of them are missing something. Those who are pro Gandhi, they say that whatever Gandhi said, we should follow that dictum as a rule. That is like the ultimate moral. But it is not true. What Gandhi lived was true for his time, for his own strategy, for his own purpose. And there are a lot of Gandhi detractors who say, okay, what was the role of Gandhi? I mean, he did not do anything. You tell them that he fought the war of independence, freedom struggle. He says, what? What did he do? He did not fight any war. He did not fight any. There was no freedom struggle led by Gandhi. So you ask them, okay, if Gandhi did not lead our freedom struggle, then who led that? I mean, did we get freedom just in a platter? I mean, somebody just, gave us as arm or what? So they will think a lot. Okay, so if not Gandhi, who gave the freedom? They'll come out, okay, people like Bhagat Singh, but then it is very apparent that no, that hardly had any impact on British. And then they come out with the answer, okay, it is Subhash Chandra Bose who gave the freedom to the India. Now my question to them is very, very clear. My question is, Bose started his Azad Hind Fauj with the support of Japan. And we know what happened to Japan in 1945. Japan was completely crushed. Japan was completely crushed in Second World War with the bombing on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to such an extent that Japan went into unconditional surrender. So when Japan had lost so badly and Japanese were supporting Azad Hind Force, how come they get scared by Bose? It is simply not possible. Very illogical answer. And even if you see that in Singapore, there was a direct fight between Britishers and Japanese, and the Japanese displaced Britishers for some time, but then Britishers captured it back. So there were nowhere Japan was proving superior to British at any point of time. So that answer is not possible. So now let me explain. It is something very deeply insightful and very thrilling to understand how the power of observation creates a perfect strategy. So let's look at what were the observations of Gandhi. So one thing he was very clear, you cannot defeat Britishers in an armed struggle. Not possible. They were far more superior in technology. They had far more better arms. And it was very clear in the 1857 first freedom of struggle, they could not be defeated in a war. Okay, so if they could not be defeated, then how could they be defeated? And I'm sure Gandhi was a great student of history. I'm sure he would have gone through how slavery was eradicated. Now, why did Britishers pass laws against slavery? Why did they eradicate slavery? A lot of us may think that, okay, there were uprisings by the slaves, or no, that was not the reason. I mean, they were very weak. They could be crushed at any point. A lot of people will say, oh, for moral reasons. No, not for moral reasons. The reason the slavery was eradicated was because Britain was a democracy and large number of people thought that too much money, taxpayer money, was being spent in crushing the uprisings, in the maintaining the law and order, and the benefit of that was going only to very few people. So it was these voters, because of that democracy, because the majority wanted slavery to be eradicated, not because of moral reasons, but because of economic reasons. And I'm sure Gandhi must have heard that and understood, and he must have realized that why are Britishers there in India? They're not there to capture India. They are there for their trading commercial reasons. So there was a huge production in England because their science and technology was so advanced, and they were looking for world market, and India was a great market for them. So Gandhi said, okay, if I can finish off this market, so India is no more a profitable market for Britishers. What will happen? There is no advantage. Then what will happen? What will the British people do? Democracy. They will say, okay, leave India. The cost of maintaining law and order is too high, and just leave India. There is no advantage. So what Gandhi did, he said, okay, boycott British goods. So that was the first strategy. That is the first deep insight he has. Do not allow profit to happen to the Britishers. Second strategy he used was, he was a great student of Bible, and by reading Bible very deeply, by understanding the life of Jesus, he understood the key emotion which influenced Britishers, and that emotion was guilt. If they do something wrong, they will feel guilty, and the guilt propagates them. And how did Gandhi see? Gandhi lived a very intense life. He had so many different experiences. So how did Gandhi come to this conclusion that it is the guilt which motivates, and then the masses force their rulers, their prime ministers to act according to that? How did Gandhi get that? So one thing, you would know that uh, there were Boers War, between British and a particular tribe living in, not a tribe, but a group living in South Africa. So there were very cruel Boer wars. And after the first Boer War, uh, Gandhi thought that, okay, if I support Britishers, maybe they will give us freedom. So he goes to the Boer War as a volunteer, and he serves the victims there. And probably it was in the second Boer War. What happened was, now, even the Boers were very cruel people. Okay, so, uh, but British, they defeated them. And then they created concentrated camps where they were really tortured and treated very inhumanly. Now, what happens? Some of the British journalists, they got into those camps, and they started to publish the pictures in the newspapers. And there was such a hue and cry. Just imagine the Britishers, they are saying, we are doing wrong, even if Boers are enemies, but they got to be treated with respect. And there was so much hue and cry that British had to withdraw from that war. So probably Gandhi, I mean, he saw this happening in front of him, that how the voice of the people, and their feeling that we are doing something wrong, forced their own leaders to retrace back. And probably he thought the same thing can happen with India also. So that is why he said, what was his strategy? Okay, you beat us, we will not do anything. So he is trying to awaken that guilt in the British people. We are not doing anything wrong. We are just asking for freedom. And do you see, these people are beating us? So there is this combination of two deep strategies. One was to play on the guilt of the masses. Second thing, he played on that cut off their benefits from India, so that people start to feel that ruling over India is a burden. Now he is working on these two strategies at the same time. And these two strategies have come out of very deep observation of reality. And his motive is very pure, that India should get the freedom. So he's always helped. So that is the source of nerves. This is from where he get the nerves. First thing is understanding of reality is so deep, and second is motive is so pure. So now there is one, I will just complete in another 3-4 minutes, but let me just end with one very beautiful incident where he really faced that, the pressure, the great stress, the grand stress of nerves over him, and how he came out of that. So there is this boycott British goods movement, and after that, I think it was in 1931 or some around the time, he was invited for a roundtable conference in Britain. So Gandhi goes there, and there was this whole town of Manchester, and it lived just on the exports to India. It produced clothes which were sold in India. And now, because there was this boycott, the whole town, everybody had become unemployed there. And there was great poverty there, and, people did not have food. So they were like in very pitiful condition. So now these people thought, all the weavers and the workers of Manchester, they thought, okay, Gandhi is a very compassionate person. And so we will go to him with our plight and we will say, listen, Gandhi, what you have done. So don't do this to us. So they invite Gandhi to Manchester, and Gandhi goes around, looks at the plight, and he's feeling very sad about whatever is happening. And you can imagine, just imagine that scenario. There are thousands of those workers who have been rendered unemployed by the Gandhi, and Gandhi is there right amidst them, and they are they're pleading to them that, listen, Gandhi, what you have done to us, can you see? You can imagine what kind of nerves, his nerves must be bursting at that moment, probably. And then Gandhi, look at his access to intelligence. How does he handle that moment? And that moment actually turns him a hero. So he says that, yes, okay, I don't remember the exact words, but I'm just, sharing his sense. He says that I find it so pitiful, and I'm really extremely sad by the plight of the people of the whole town here. And then people are like listening in that pin drop silence. And he says, but can you imagine the plight of my people? Hundreds of times more in numbers. And what kind of plight they have been going through for years because of the British rule. So can you see that how, and in that moment, he has again played on that guilt, and again he has still stood by his ground that we will not offer benefits to Britishers, and he has carried across a message, and that visit earned him huge fan following in England. And then what happens in 1945? So Churchill won the war, and one of the famous things about Churchill, one of the famous quotes, as far as I remember, about Gandhi, if you ask him, no, who is that one person you hate most? So Churchill is again extremely intelligent. So he said, if there is one person I want to be trampled under the feet of elephant, that person is Gandhi. I don't remember his exact quote, but he said something like that. And he would like to see him trampled under the feet of elephants. Now that Churchill, now in 1945, there is an election in Britain. So Churchill is a very strong supporter of that British will continue to rule over India. And he has already won the war. Now there is his opponent, Italy, he says, no, we will give freedom to India because there is no benefit we are getting from India. We are spending too much in maintaining our machinery, but there's hardly any benefit. And just imagine who the Britishers choose. They don't choose Churchill, they choose Italy. Right? So that was a victory of the Gandhian strategy. So it was, see, today we may not understand, we may have 100 doubts why he did that and why he did that. But actually, if you look at how he woven the right strategy, which worked, nobody won, their freedom from British by way of struggle. So, so that is karuna. That is karuna. That is the most powerful source of nerves for you. That you are so aware of the reality. You are such a great observer. You know this fact and that fact and that fact. And you have lived so much of life. You have lived so many realities. And your motive is so pure that all the time when you are in these situations, you're always helped by the unknown, by the consciousness. That is the ultimate source of power of nerves. Yes, Mansi.
Shivo, that was just extraordinarily brilliant. I know I'm going to look back and soak in all
And
this again.
let me just clarify one more
Yeah,
thing. Let me
sure.
just clarify one more thing. A lot of people say that this Gandhi principle and that I don't find the Gandhi principles relevant for today. They were relevant only for the freedom struggle. They are not relevant for free India. So I'm not a Gandhi follower. If you ask me, I mean, there are a few things about Gandhi you don't like. Yes, I will say, of course, there are a lot of things about Gandhi I may not like. But the point is this, that he had a strategy, he had a purpose. He had a purpose, and through his observation, through his intelligence, he designed a strategy. And that strategy worked. That is what is Vishnu consciousness. Right? Yes, Mansi.
Shiva, and just to add on to your brilliant points, that you said he had a purpose and he had that Vishnu consciousness. And whenever we look at Vishnu avatars, whenever their work is done, they don't stick around, they are gone.
Yes.
And with Gandhi, the moment we got the struggle in a few months,
Same thing happened with Lincoln also. I would love to, share my admiration of Lincoln also one of the days. Another great observer. And same thing happened with him also.
yes.
He also left very
So,
quick.
yes, sure. So, Shiva, with everyone's permission, before we go to the honoring ceremony, I would like to share a personal moment and my most nerve-wracking journey, because it's a very personal moment for me today. I have my parents, my dad, whom we affectionately call Dadu. He is my first guru. And my mom and dad have been my greatest cheerleaders. Over the period of time, I've shared what all I've learned from them, but they have really supported me as I have taken the path not traveled, when I've taken this alternative route to life. My guru Shivo is here. My beloved Masi, Gita Masi, who is now just not Gita Masi, she has become Quanto Masi. So she is here along with Gautam Masa, who is really a global icon and legend, and he's one of our honorees. We are honored to honor him, actually. And we have a family of my heart as well as of my soul today. So today I would like to share the most nerve-wracking moments of my life. I have been through more intense moments, maybe more painful moments, but this was the most nerve-wracking. So it so happened a few years ago, my mother developed diabetic complications, and she had a heart attack due to that, and she was in the very critical condition. And 2 times I had even been told that, okay, we've intimated you how critical it is, and literally if anyone wants to meet her, this is the time. So had been through that. We went through that journey. She was out of the hospital after, her entire body was turning septic, but we went through that. She was out of the hospital, back home, and I came back to USA, right where I live. So our whole family came back, and after I had come back, and by that time she was completely settled. She was taking 5 insulin shots a day for diabetes, 5 insulin shots a day. But it seemed, it was being managed. And then I came back to US, and 10 days later, she was in the hospital again, and the same story was repeating itself. My son, as many of am I audible?
Yeah. Yes. Go on.
So my son Ishan, as you know, has special needs. He is a Quanto darling, and we all know, many of you know, the leaps he has taken over the years. But I had to, but we had to make a decision, and my husband completely supported. He's also here, but he's with my son right now. So he completely supported this decision. He said, you can go to India. I will take care of Ishan. And which was a big thing considering the medical needs that Ishan had. And I come there. There are 5. My mom's in the hospital. I'm the only child. There are 5 bank holidays. Even for the money to be transferred to India, there are 5 bank holidays between US and India during that time. There is my dad, who was just amazing, but he's on bed rest because of a stroke. I do not have, over the year, at that point of time, I did not have so many people I knew in Thana, where my mom was in the hospital in Jupiter. It was, and then there was, of course, this fear that, okay, if she comes back out, I'm in US, I'm the only child, how are we going to manage how are we going to continue the care? So all these questions are racing in my mind. And I come, and Shivo is there with me. And there are so many other things that I'm not even getting to, but this is the moment where I couldn't just play one role. I had to, it was just, everything was falling down. And I think Shivo was with me at that time. And he told Mansi, you got to take 100% responsibility. That's the only way you're going to do it. It's 100% responsibility. It doesn't matter whether you are, if there is someone else's fault, if, things are not working, something is stuck because of some other reason, but you are 100%, you take 100% responsibility. And I didn't know what it meant, but I said, okay, that whatever happens, it's on me, no matter what happens, it's on me. And I remember that she was getting better. And we were in this position where the doctor suggested she needs an open heart surgery. And we asked for a second opinion from cardiologist in the hospital. We asked, the primary doctor who was teaching us, who actually has been in our family for a very long time, who has been treating our family members. We talked around, and we really were getting the doctors were overwhelmingly telling us that she needs to go for bypass surgery. And I asked my mother what she wanted. My mother was, she didn't really want a surgery. We had Mataji, we have an ashram near our house who my mom believes in, and she was like, yes, and then no. So I was not getting any clarity on how I should go in myself. And I remember talking to Shivo, and then she was said, how, you should really talk to Gautam Masa. So at this point, I was at this point that whatever Gautam Masa says, I'm going to go with it. Really, so I just asked my mother, Mama, whom do you trust most to make this decision? And in the ICU, she said, Gautam Masa. So I had this conversation with Gautam Masa, and it was, I would say it was, to be honest, it was a very difficult conversation, but a very needed conversation. And Gautam Masa was able to, because I will read his bio, in a few moments. But he is a global icon in emergency medicine. He is a family. He's my own Masa. He knows he actually give me the decision from all angles as a doctor, as someone who knows our family intimately, and by family he knows everything: the emotional status, the financial status, what are we capable, the fact I'm living away, I'm the only child, everything, like the totality of it. And he told me that I'm going to tell you what I see from taking all these things into consideration: your mother's age, the other conditions, everything. And but he said it is your responsibility, and I said yes. So because it was a matter of life and death. It was those moments that it could have gone either way, and Gautam Masa told me that, okay, the primary condition is diabetes and she shouldn't go for a bypass surgery. And the moment he said that, all the fog cleared away. And we then, I think we talked to like 6 to 7 doctors that, okay, we are not going ahead. And she came out, and we were also blessed in this whole thing. We found an angel who's a health attendant for my mom and dad, and who's been taking care of them more than even a daughter or the child could. So like this whole incident changed my life. It is the most nerve-wracking but the most empowering moment of my life. I think I went through what was a boot camp in those 11 or 12 days with Shivo, and really, and what emerged from this was the boot camp in Quanto Life. After 1 month later, we started our boot camp, which was our first online long-term program. And that became Deva Magic program that has taken a new avatar as the DYC program, and a part of it is continuing in this Tuesdays. But and I really want to thank everyone who was a part of this: my dad, my mom, Shivo, Gitamasi, Gautam Masa, and also other family members and friends. So thank you so much for going on this journey with me. And as we start honoring the honorees, first I would like to call upon Dr. Gautam Bodiwala. Gautam Masa. Pranam Gautam Masa. Can we have the spotlight, please? Masa, could you unmute yourselves? Masa, I am so happy and honored to have you with us in this platform in this way.
Namaste Shivoji, Namaste Mansi.
And Masa, that will always stay in my, what you advised me on that day. In retrospect, we know it has worked so well. My mom is not even on any insulin shots today. She's really healthy, and it is something I will never forget in my life. Thank you, Masa.
You have been very generous to me, very generous.
No, Masa. No, Masa. So yes, so it is an honor to present Dr. Gautam Bodiwala. Dr. Gautam Bodiwala is a global icon and legend in the field of emergency medicine. He's one of the pioneers and experts, both nationally and internationally. He founded the International Federation for Emergency Medicine, of which he was the first elected world president. Amongst many local, national, and international accolades, he has received the honorary doctorate by University of Leicester and the De Montfort University. He was the first in emergency medicine to be appointed CBE, the Commander of British Empire, by Her Majesty, the Queen Elizabeth II. I believe this is the second highest civilian award given by the Queen, I think only next to knighthood. The emergency department in Leicester is named after him as the Gautam Bodiwala Emergency Department, the only one in UK. The IFEM has created its highest award, the Gautam Bodiwala Lifetime Leadership Achievement Award, to mark his contribution to international emergency medicine. He's published over 80 papers in scientific journals, 1 book, and given more than 100 keynote speeches worldwide. He currently serves on various committees at the Court of University of Leicester and has served as the Pro-Chancellor of De Montfort University. Thank you so much for being with us, Gautam Masa.
Thank you. Thank you. We are, it's about 5 o'clock, or about to be 5 o'clock here. It's kind of midnight darkness, but I can see the light from the knowledge and the preaching that I had for half an hour coming from Shivoji. And we are extremely grateful to you for allowing me to be with you.
Some little trivia, Gautam Masa, that everyone knows you share your birthday with Amitabh Bachchan. And in fact, Gautam Masa was the one who gave the honorary PhD to Amitabh Bachchan. I believe you were the chief of guest during that. I have a picture of you.
That is from De Montfort University, yes.
De Mont, yes. Shivo also shares his birthday with you.
Oh,
so 11th October.
I'm honored. I'm honored.
So, Gautam Masa, being in emergency, being the pioneer in emergency medicine, being a legend there, you would have lived nerve-wracking. I think that was your life. We go through nerve-wracking incidences. I think for you, that's what you see. That's your life. I want to share with the audience one particular incident that just seems incredible. That was the Kegworth air disaster. It happened when a Boeing 737-400 crashed while trying to make an emergency landing in Leicester, near Leicester. And there were about 126 people aboard, 47 died, and 74 sustained injuries. And you were leading the medical front on, on mitigating this disaster. And I'm sure it must have been nerve-wracking to all the staff. Like, this was a disaster of ginormous proportions. Could you walk us through, like, how was it, and how did you manage to lead people through this?
It was, let me tell you one thing. I came to emergency medicine way back in 1970 by accident, rather than by design, because I came to the United Kingdom to specialize in neurological surgery, which our son Deva has become. And in fact, your Masi, Gita Masi, wanted to become a dentist, and Janki, our daughter and your cousin, has become a. So it's a huge coincidence in our life. And I happened to come across a gentleman in those days who wanted to establish emergency medicine as a specialty. And he said, he was a surgeon as well, and he said, come and join me because I need young people to establish this new accident and emergency specialty. So I joined him in 1970, 50 years back, and rest is history. Wow. And you took us to another part of my life's history, managing this major disaster. We have a system here that because our airport, Leicester Airport, is not far away from our house, and anytime there is a problem with an aircraft, they inform me. Because in those days, I'm 77, I'm retired for 17 years from active practice. But being the chief of accident department and leader in disaster management, I always used to be informed for every flight. And I was informed by the nurse in charge that the plane landing gear is in trouble. Are you around? And I said, yes. And within 2 minutes, she rang me and she said, it's a big one. Come on in. And I went to the hospital and initiated the major disaster response, which requires hospital to be prepared to receive a number of patients that we were expecting. It requires my department, accident department, which is the first port of call for all these patients to be prepared. It requires umpteen number of hospital staff, surgeons, anesthetists, intensivists, physicians, nurses, porters to be ready for this. And if you ask me, which you did, then how do you prepare yourself? Then adrenaline runs and action takes place. And in many of my international lectures, when I talk about leadership, I talk about being a good emergency physician. I talk about being a good doctor. I often tell them that one of the most important qualities or criteria to become an emergency specialist is to have the ability to make decisions quickly. Because it is an emergency situation, life and death situation. The disaster that you described was a life and death situation for 126 people. Because when the call came, we did not know whether they were alive or they were not alive. And as fire brigade people started taking the rubble off, then they realized that X number of people had not survived. And 70 plus had survived, and they started bringing them in. So that is the adrenaline. The way I had learned making decision quickly. And I can't boast that I have always taken the right decision. There are times when I might not have taken right decision. But the record says that in majority of the times, I took the right decisions. People started pouring in, patients started pouring in. And for 36 hours, the whole team was on its feet, treating these patients, not only in receiving an emergency department, but starting from the point of incidence, where the plane crashed on a highway, what we call motorways in England. From that point right up to intensive care, operating theater, wards. And hats off to my staff all over the hospital, the dedication with which they work. So that is a second character that is required, and that is dedication in medical profession. And I was very impressed and taken by Shivoji's expression about observation. Because in medical profession, power of observation is a must. In my orthopedic surgery background, we used to be taught that you sit in your outpatient and the way patient walks, you should be able to say what is probably wrong with him. And in emergency situation, patient lies and the way he breathes, the way chest is thumping up and down with heartbeats, the way the eyes look, the way the skin color look, the movements that body parts take. And I go back to Shivoji's expression of observation. This is very much required. So all these patients who came in, all 72, I would simply observe and decide who is the priority and who could stay for 15 minutes, who could stay for half an hour, and who should go to the theater now. And when I say now, it means now. Who requires assistance in breathing, and that means now. And this is all by observation. So I'm grateful to you, Shivoji, for bringing that very important aspect of observation in our life.
I'm just feeling the chills of those moments and how you are describing. Just by looking into those patients, you knew who should be the priority. This is like most awesome. No words to say.
Masa, you're like the Sherlock Holmes of doctors. The only person I know who would do that was Sherlock Holmes. You know, the way the client would come and walk to his office, he would have already like deduced the whole scenario. And
But that happens after years of experience. I wasn't like this on day one. I wasn't like this even on the 10th day. Experience teaches you a lot of lessons.
That was a lot of, you lived life with a lot of intensity and observation. So
Along with that,
yeah.
After you.
Please.
Along with that, the background of knowledge is of essence as well.
Absolutely. Expertise.
Because if you want to be clinically sharp, if you want to have that power of observation and power of decision making, you ought to have that knowledge. And another thing is that in this kind of situation, whilst I was treating patients, there were multiple calls from all around the world coming into me, my office, asking me about what was happening. And hospital immediately intervened and took over that aspect, that function from me. And that is another aspect I want to highlight is communication. In every step of life, communication is very important. And not more so than life of medicine. Because here was an example that Mansi described. Communication with emergency services, communication with my staff, communication with press, but most importantly, communication with patients' relatives. Because you could just imagine that those who belong to Midlands, we live in an area called Midlands, their relatives wanted to know what was happening to their dear ones. Those who were from Ireland, because this flight was from London to Belfast, and because there was an engine failure, there was an emergency landing which failed and crash occurred. So relatives were ringing the moment they knew. So communication is a very important aspect as well. But what I see from your face, Shivoji, is an enormous amount of composure. That is from your face, I see that. And in my life, in my emergency life, that was another aspect that one required to maintain composure in crisis. And your Masi would not necessarily agree what I'm going to say, the last one, that to create a balance between work and family life, between work and wellness in life. 36 hours, I just came for half an hour because when I went, I did not take my clothes or shaving equipment. So I just came in, I quickly got ready, showered and went back. But in all my dramas of my life, she has tolerated me and she has never complained. And although I describe all these qualities of emergency doctor, there are times when I have failed on many qualities.
Correct.
Masa, with every, I think is behind. I feel along with every successful man, there is a partner. And Geeta Masi
She's the one.
Yes. And Geeta Masi is beloved, loved, and she's a darling. She has become a Masi. Gautam Masa, she's become Masi for everyone now. Everyone in Quanto Life calls her Masi. We are just amazed by how youthful she is because she still carries the curiosity to learn. You know, if you will look at the faces of people in Quanto Life, they are usually younger. But Geeta Masi she is probably the youngest of us all, and she takes and her willingness to learn. She does not come from the space that I have experienced life and I want to teach you. We imbibe that, but she is always in the space of I want to learn more. And I think 70 is just a number. I think our teenagers would learn how to be youthful from Geeta Masi.
I'm always amazed at how receptive and how she is so much keen to learn all the time. I'm really amazed about that.
Thank you, Shivo. Thank you.
There are two other people I would like to mention, and I would like young generation to remember that as well. And our son and daughter, because in all my emergency work, whenever I came home and whenever I came late at night, there were hardly any demands from my children. Now they are big. One is a big surgeon and one is a big dentist, but hardly any demands at any time. And all these things, Manchi, happens is purely because of the blessings of your parents and your family. And gurus like Shivoji.
Thank you
I
so
am
much.
just amazed by your humility, and I'm really blessed here. And we all are blessed with your presence. And thank you so much for finding time and joining us. And we really hope that you will keep joining us and also keep contributing.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I now invite love you Masi. I now invite Prachiti to welcome our next honoree.
Thank you so much, Mansi. It was so enchanting listening to Dr. Bodiwala and really getting to know that ultimately it is the balance, the composure, the observation that really helps us. And the most important thing that struck me when he was talking to us was when he mentions that it wasn't always a bed of roses. There have been moments when he faced failures. So failures, as we call them, stepping stones. And I would like to collect all this, that the tone that has been set for tonight by Dr. Bodiwala. I'll carry it forward, and we will talk about a game where we actually require a complete balance, a complete control and composure when the small little efforts are to be made. And we are going to talk about a person who is a world champion at that. I would like to welcome Mr. Ashok Shandelia. Uh, and he is somebody, Ashokji, Pranam.
Namaskar to everybody.
Most welcome on this forum.
Thank you very much for honoring me and inviting me over here. I've been to the Quantum Forum. My wife is there, my sister-in-law is there, Ranjana, and my wife also, Rachna, she also does. I also had some sessions, some time, when she forwards me, I listen and I learn a lot. So thank you for having me, and I'm honored.
We are also honored to have you here, Ashokji. And to the audience, I would like to mention that Ashokji is world snooker champion.
Billiards champion. Sorry, billiards
Billiards
champion.
champion. Now,
Yeah,
Ashokji, I would really want you to, because for me, as a common person, billiards, snooker, and pool table, and the number of balls that we have there. Some have 3, some have 21, and then there are 15 ball games also. So we just know that a person with complete focus is there, holds a cue, they call it, the stick, and something happens and the balls start moving. Uh, what is the game, and
yeah.
what crunch is there that a player really has to go through while
Well,
playing?
billiards is played with 3 balls. First of all, I'll just explain. Billiards is played with 3 balls, which is where I am good at. Then snooker is played with 22 balls. If I can just switch my camera, I don't know. Yes, I can show you this. This is snooker. Boys are playing over here in my academy. I'm still
Okay.
sitting in my academy.
Right.
So these boys are playing at my academy. Okay, so this is just a minute. So that's snooker, and snooker is played with 22 balls, and there are 15 reds and 6 colors: yellow, green, brown, blue, pink, black. So, and basically, and then pool you're talking about is played with 9-ball pool and 8-ball pool. That's played on a very smaller table. So, but you know, the basics are the same in any sport. You talk about billiards, snooker, cricket, hockey, football, any sport, the basic and the learning is almost the same. So, but apart from what technical knowledge is required to play the game, there is a lot behind in the subconscious mind that is going on. And that is where आप लोगों की जो बोलते हैं ना जो जितनी भी व्हाट यू से जितनी भी चीज जो अपने माइंड ओवर मैटर वाली बात जो व्हाट वी डू दिस इज वेयर you people come in, and that is what is mostly required when in a crunch situation, when I go and play a match or I'm playing. So I know on the table what I am supposed to do, but to keep my head cool and calm, you need to do something else. It's not only the sport. I practice sport every day, but I don't win a match every day. I practice 8, 9, 10 hours every day, but there is something which goes behind. On the table is a different story, but when you go subconscious mind, that is where, if you are cool, calm, composed, that will help you go through the match, or that will help you go through that patch what you are going or playing. So if you are strong in your head, then you made it. So, and Quanto is one thing, then there is yoga, then there is mental teaching, there is sports psychology. There are so many factors which helps. So, and I used to do, I had my guru who taught me, Sir Wilson Jones. He taught me how to play the game, the nuisances of the nuisance of the game, and what you say, how the ball moves around, how it is going to go into the pocket, which shot to play. That was one aspect he taught me. This is how the balls will react if you hit on the left hand side, on the top or bottom, or on the right hand side. So this is how it will react. But there was one more man, Mr. BP Bam. He was a sports, he was a director general in police, but he had done a lot of learning in the mental part of the game, and that is where he helped me a lot to come, to become stronger. So for me, any opponent I played, there was no opponent. I was just playing myself.
So
So
what was your greatest nerve-wracking moment?
सर देर आर मेनी इन जैसे मेरे से पहले जो जिनको आपने ऑनर किया, डॉक्टर साहब को एंड डॉक्टर बोडीवाला साहब, उनके पास भी हुए होंगे. इट इज जस्ट वन एक्सपीरियंस ही मस्ट हैव टोल्ड. ही वुड हैव एनकाउंटर्ड many such moments in his life, throughout his life, till and what happens is I have played the game at the highest level, and every match was different, but I'll tell you, I won 2 world championships. Okay, I'm not talking about the world championships now. I won 2 gold medal in the Asian Games. First in '98 first time billiards was introduced in the Asian Games. And till our event, India had not won any gold medal. So the entire country, when you play a sport, whether it is Olympics or Asian Games, every day on the sports column, if you see, there is a column where India का जो नाम आता है पीछे आता है 13 number, 14 number, 27th Olympics. If you see, we just win one gold or one silver, but Chinese and all these players, the country, they are winning in 80, 90, 70. So in 1998. India had just won a bronze medal. Till that point, we started playing, and I was fortunate to have Geet Sethi as my partner, and we entered the finals of the Asian Games, and the entire country's country was watching us. So many billions and billions of people are every day glued to TV to watch if India is going to get a medal or not. And billiards is a sport where India has been traditionally very, very strong. So Geet Sethi and myself, we were the two best partners who could, help each other to win the gold medal. But we did not have it easy. It was a 5-4 victory over Thailand. And, once you win, and actually I had gone through, I don't know what happened. I had gone through two experiences during that time. I don't know, it is God sent. Hai, yeah, there is something. Whenever I used to close my eyes and जैसे मैंने मुंह पे पानी मारा, just to wash, just to when you are having a lot of tension, you go to the toilet, you just want to just spill water on your face and refresh yourself. Cold water मारते तो थोड़ा सा refreshing. So as soon as I used to wash my face, I used to open my eyes. I could see half inches of fluorescent colors ke worm-like creatures. God knows, and billions of them. It's not even 5-10. The entire wall, entire everything. मुझे तो समझ, and it was especially during the 2 or 3 events which I won for the country. So Asian Games ka this final doubles mein, I remember I washed my face and I could see these glowing creatures all over in fluorescent, light green fluorescent, and all over. And then after 10 seconds, it was all gone. I went inside. I told Geet, bhai, a lot of pressure, but anyways, I'll try and play more of safety, and you play aggressive. So we'll manage ourselves. Doubles mein aisi hota. One plays safety, one plays aggressive. We won that gold for the country. Second one, first we were partnering each other. The second, that was India's first gold medal in 1990 Asian Games, 98 Asian Games at Thailand. India got 7 gold medals. The second one was like, nerve-wracking wala. I'm telling you the story. Once we won the doubles ka gold, singles, Geet and myself, we were playing in the finals again. He entered from one side, I entered from the other side. We both came to the finals. Pressure release ho jata hai. When two Indians are playing in the finals of Asian Games or Olympics, at least, we are fighting with each other. It's all right. But we know for the fact that India has got a gold and a silver. That is the most important moment. We are playing for the country. We don't play for ourselves when you are playing for Asian Games and Olympics. So there are millions of people who are watching us, who are who want us to win a medal for them. So when it is coming to Asian Games and Olympics, that kind of event. So, and what happens is when you win a gold, there is this ceremony. Gold, as आपने सबने देखा होगा Olympics में, Asian Games में, when there is this ceremony and the people come and gold medal डालते हैं, then they give you some memento and all. And after that, our national anthem is played in a different country. So that is the best part. Nerve wracking वो होता है कि मतलब after you do something extraordinary, जीत तो गए हैं, but वहां पर that feeling of doing something and that satisfaction of what you've achieved is something else. वो it is not possible for anyone जब तक आप खुद उसको encounter नहीं करो. And the second one, I beat Geet Sethi in the finals to win the second gold. So again, that moment was there. And in Australia, when I won the other gold medal, World Championship, वहां पर भी सिडनी में इंडिया का नेशनल एंथम बजता है, फ्लैग ऊपर जाता है. It's a different story. and to win that you have to go through that process, the grinding और वो जो match का है, जो practice है, practice के बाद में जो events होता है, it is मतलब unbelievable. If you know, I when I'm talking to you, all my hair, I am getting goosebumps. You know, it is like that. So our matches may we go through a lot of process, and mind over matter is the most important. हर कोई खेल लेता है. There are players playing here. Everybody plays the game at that level. India से कोई है, कहीं ऑस्ट्रेलिया से, इंग्लैंड से, everybody plays.
Ashok ji, since now from what you are saying about the game, what I'm realizing is that it's all about your mental being there in that moment, isn't it? It's
Yes,
if there
absolutely
is a
right, sir.
thought, you are going to make that shot, and one thought comes, even that can disturb you. And the real power comes from being there, right there in the moment.
Sir, there is no even 1/4% of a chance of thinking anything negative.
Yeah,
मतलब आपने आधा % भी अगर सोच लिया तो you are finished.
it's all a mental game, basically.
It's absolutely any sport. Up, you can win, you can lose. Doctors तो can't lose also, but sometimes they lose patient. No, doctors तो अगर कोई doctor अगर मतलब it is very difficult to think of a doctor losing anything or doing anything wrong on the operation theater. Patient जाता है doctor के पास. But sportsmen, of course, they can have. Kohli can go out on zero. Tendulkar जाता है. Everybody, we have the moments. But if a batsman has a moment, the bowler too will have a moment, or a fielder too will have a moment. So everybody is going through that process. So we all try to win, we all try to do well. But मैंने ये बोला कि mind अगर over matter नहीं हुआ, तो you are finished. And this is where your excellence of your field comes in. Players.
Yes, so I would like to invite you. I really extend my great wishes to all the students who are learning in your academy, and I really wish that you create lots and lots of world champions. And I'm inviting you to introduce the quantum processes, and you will
बिल्कुल
see the
sir,
magic.
बिल्कुल.
You will see the
बिल्कुल.
magic.
No, I'm telling you, I will go through this again. मतलब I will join your process also. But I'm telling you, because of Mr. Bam, mental training मेरी इतनी strong हुई, तो उसमें लिएंडर पेज भी आता था, उसमें माइकल फरार, गीत सेठी, many players, all the shooters. Basically, he was a shooting president of the shooting organ. Many shooters, Jaspal Rana, and everybody has been trained under him. सो मेंटल जो मेंटल ट्रेनिंग जो होती है ना, योगा एंड सवासना और बाकी का जो स्लीपिंग, सर आप कितना भी बोले, जैसे आप सिखाते हैं और भी लोग होंगे जो सिखाते हैं, बट बेसिकली उनका इंटेंशन यही है कि मेंटली आप पीसफुल रहो. दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट. आपको पीसफुल रहना चाहिए. एंड क्रंच सिचुएशन जैसे आपने कहा, यू हैव टू बी एट पीस और ऑफ एट एनी गिवन टाइम. Even if you are down, if you are up, matlab you should be the same. Why there should be any change in your body or attitude or जो भी है, a person is what he is and it should be the same for everybody. ऐसा नहीं कि एक आदमी के लिए अलग, दूसरे आदमी के लिए अलग. He should be just total full of humility and composed, and he should be the same 100% same for others. और यही सब जो आप सिखाते हैं, और मैंने तो आपका सेशन किया हुआ है, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं किया हुआ. मैं रात में नींद अच्छी आई उस रात को. जो फैक्ट है. मैं इंदौर में था, मेरी वाइफ ने मुझे एक आधे घंटे का था, उसमें सेशन था, उसने शी सेंट मी द लिंक. आई डिड दैट. वन ऑफ माय सिस्टर लॉ आल्सो डिड. सो नींद उस रात अच्छी आई. अब यही होता ना कि अभी जैसे अभी आई विल बी हियर अवेक, माय एकेडमी रन्स 24 आवर्स, तो कभी टाइम, बट यही है कि what I've learned, I know even if I take 15-20 minutes of nap and power nap, and that rejuvenates me for a longer time. But जो mental जो I do a lot of yoga, breathing exercise करता हूँ, yoga करता हूँ, I close my eyes, I try to concentrate more. That helps me in the game, in my life also.
So, Ashok ji, it has been really a pleasure, and it has been our deep honor to have you here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
we are also blessed by so many of your family members being part of Quanto family. And
I am also, you consider me a part of your family, but only thing is this, मुझे टाइम इतना मिलता नहीं है कि मतलब किसी भी टाइम पे मैं कोई, जैसे आपके सेशन भी मैंने पहले सुने हुए हैं, ऐसे नहीं, मेरी वाइफ जब सुनती है तो मैं अपने कान में लगा लेता हूँ. तो ओनली थिंग इज आई डोंट गेट टाइम, थोड़ा सा मेरा टाइम का प्रॉब्लम है. बाकी तो you consider me part of your family
so
also.
we are vibrationally together, as we say that we have Quanto vibrational field, and all the people who love us, they are already part of the Quanto vibrational field. Like in Christianity, they have the vibrational field called Holy Spirit, and anybody who invokes Holy Spirit becomes part of that vibrational field. And same way we have the Quanto vibrational field, and a lot of people who love you are already part of that, and you also love us, so we are vibrationally one.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, sir. If you ever need मेरी तरफ से आपको कभी भी मेरी जरूरत आपको लगे तो I am always there. Please let me know. And I am blessed to have talking to you and you all of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us.
I want to give a shout out to Ranjana, Shivo, because Ranjana has this Quanto quality of combining families. Ashokji is Ranjana's. Can we have, I have to see my girl Ranjana. Can we have her on the spotlight, please?
Hello.
Hi. It's okay. Mujhe hata do spotlight se. I know we can only have 4. That's okay.
I'm doing nothing. Yeah.
There she is.
We will just spotlight. Sabko hata do. Just Ranjana on the screen. So yes, I just a shout out to Ranju. She is a family builder. Wherever she goes, she combines families. This is her blood family that she has combined with her soul family. All her friends are in Quanto because she's just वो लोगों को जोड़ती है. लोगों को जोड़ती है, families को जोड़ती है, communities को जोड़ती है, and maybe countries को जोड़ती है. So Ranju, love you. Please keep this Mahalakshmi, may this Mahalakshmi essence keep growing in you. Okay, love you, babes.
Thank you. Can I say something about?
Yes.
So one thing that I really like about him is that he's got absolutely great sportsmanship. He just goes out to give his best. I've never seen him go overboard with happiness when he wins a match, and I've never seen him come home in a bad mood when he loses one. So that is the best thing about him. If he loses a match also, he'll say, "Arey Geet, bahut acha khela yaar tu," or whoever his opponent may be. I'm happy for that person more than losing. He's so humble. I mean, as you can see, he's so humble and sweet, and he's got no air about being who he is, and that is the one quality that not many people have. He's amazing. He's just amazing. I thank you all for acknowledging him and asking him to be a part of this. Thank you, Jaji, for coming for me.
Thank you. ऐसा है कि why should anyone have any air? I तो just when I see a lot of people, I don't understand कि किस बात का air है. I see a lot of people like that. I see a lot of air, a lot of people having a lot of air, and सब चीज देखता हूँ तो समझ I just keep learning every day. That is the best part. I meet a lot of people. I keep learning about him. Nowadays I've stopped talking much and I started reading more. अब एक पीरियड आता है तो आपको बात नहीं करना है, आपको खाली सुनना है लोगों को, एंड यू हैव टू रीड एंड एनालाइज क्या चीज है. तो दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव बीन डूइंग. अभी जब से ये मैंने आई हैव ओपन माय सेकंड एकेडमी इन हैदराबाद, वन इज एट इंदौर, एंड जब से खोला है यहाँ पे, आई एम जस्ट लर्निंग द पीपल ओवर हियर. सम आर नाइस, सम आर, सब अलग है. जैसे बोला कि ये चीज है ना, ये अंतर आत्मा सिखाती है सब. बिल्कुल सही बात.
बिल्कुल, आपने इतनी बड़ी बड़ी बातें बता दी जो हम लोग बहुत छोटा छोटा समझते हैं, बट एक्चुअली दे प्ले अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन द एंटायर स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर्स दैट वी डील इन, राइट. और अभी यू जस्ट स्पोक अबाउट becoming silent, growing in awareness, is all comes with experience, right? So I think the chat box is overflowing with so many compliments for you, and uh, that has been a great conversation, Ashokji. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
And I'll take this opportunity to really thank Ranjana also, because the things right, they start from the root. So thank you, Ranjana. You've been really great. We were talking about staying focused, we are talking about staying composed, and we are going to now meet an honoree amongst us who's been, of course, uh, using these skills, but then not to focus on a game or to win a laurel or to do some emergency treatment of a patient, but to actually have to control the animals which are purely dangerous. I am glad to welcome Charanji, if he's amongst us, because I'm not able to see the gallery view. If you could just, Charanji, if you are here, Charan Desai ji. He did not have net problems, but uh, Charanji, can you hear me? Probably he logged out
Uh,
or some network
uh,
issue.
yeah, Prachiti, so I had seen him a while ago. Maybe something happened. Could you continue and we will look for him?
Sure, sure, sure. We move
Continue
ahead
with the next.
with the felicitations. Yes, we have such names amongst us. If we could have Snehal ji, if you are around, Snehal Rakesh ji.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Um, uh, uh, Dear audience, to mention something of what I think almost all of you must have thought or must have been thinking. We were into lockdown, we were stuck up, and we were gaining weight. And then we were really worried about our health, our wellness. So, the honorees that we have right now on our screens, I'm glad to introduce Snehal ji and Rakesh ji. They are wellness experts. They deal in such things. Most welcome, uh, Snehal ji
Thank
and
you.
Rakesh ji.
Thank you so much. Thank
Happy
you.
to have you here. Yeah. And they have been dealing with people and advising them about how to go about things, right? And presently they are joining us from US. Thank you so much, guys, because the time zone, the problems with
So
things like that. Yeah.
the point I would like to I would like to point out that
Yes, Shivo.
not only they are the wellness coach, but they have built a huge business, and which probably I don't know how much is the turnover of your business.
I think we do almost $25 million a year. That's the turnover that we do. Yeah.
Yes. So that is really great. And what I was really amazed, I was talking to Sachin, and we were discussing about the power of nerves. So I asked Sachin that, do you know someone who has the power of nerves? And then, yes, then he said, yes, I know someone who had extremely difficult life. And she risen from there. And so I would really like to listen from you that part of your life. What gave you that mental strength to really come out from the real depth of life to be here where you have now created a business which is $25 million?
Yeah.
It's like a huge journey.
Thank you so much. And Sachin just spoke to us yesterday, so we got to know about this community only yesterday. So thank you, Guru Shivo. And I just spoke to Mansi a few, hours back because we are in the same time zone. And thank you, Prachiti, for coordinating this. Even though it was a short notice, I feel that all the people on this call, everybody, like Mansi said, everybody is a hero here. There are no followers on this call. Everybody is a hero and everybody is inspiring each other. And we love to be part of these communities. We're also part of Sachin's community. And thank you, for all the honorees who shared their stories today, such inspiring stories. So to begin with, I started when I was actually a teenager. So as a teenager, I saw that almost every evening I was visiting doctor. Me, my family, it was either for me, for my sisters, my grandparents. And like everybody goes to a park in the evening, I realized every evening I was going to the doctor, So something was not sitting right with me. And somehow, I was leaning towards, that career of medicine. I wanted to do something into medicine, something to do with doctors. But then, around when I was 16 or 17 years of age, what happened is my granny got detected with cancer, and that was fourth stage C cancer. And the moment it was detected, they said that she just has 15 days to live, just call everybody. And, that's it, so we had everybody in our home. I remember 40 people just around because everybody was in a shock. Everybody was really attached to her. And, I was, that time I was into nutrition. We had just started some nutrition. And, she was unconscious, and I started giving this nutrition to her by drops. And then she woke up suddenly, and somebody was given 15 days to live. She lived for 15 years of a full life.
Wow.
So even though she had oral cancer, and her teeth was removed, her tongue was removed, she couldn't have regular food. And she survived just on nutrition for so many years. And during that time, it is not just her, almost all her siblings got cancer. Somebody got esophagus cancer, somebody got uterus cancer. And because I was wanting to go into the medical industry, when you go on Google, you try to research on things, and that is the time I got to know that 70% of all the terminal diseases is because of lack of nutrition and lifestyle, bad lifestyle. And because I was going to Tata hospital so frequently, all these grandparents, they didn't live in Mumbai. They were in different parts. Like somebody was from Nasik, somebody from Vada, and they all lived in our place. And we were the ones taking them to. So my vacation, actually my 12th vacation, I spent taking them to a Tata hospital. And when I was going to hospitals, when I saw so many people queuing up out of outside Tata hospital, there were probably 400 people living outside, waiting for months together for their turn to come. And I saw small children, and it was a very horrifying plight. So when I was reading more about it, somewhere I thought that if all this 70% is because of lack of nutrition and lifestyle, which means that 70% of this hospital would be empty if people just took care of their lifestyle and nutrition. And that is the time I decided that I don't want to become a doctor. I mean, there's no offense if somebody is there here, but I'm just sharing my journey. What I felt there is that most people go to doctors after they get sick. Nobody goes to say hi, hello to a doctor when they're fine. They go to a doctor when they're sick. And when I learned,
Snehal, I have to really interrupt and say this. I'm simply awed by that choice you made. It was, I mean, who can make this choice?
Yeah.
Who can make this choice that you say you are in the hospital, you realize that it is a nutrition and lack of the understanding of nutrition, forces people to go for the medical care. So what is the point of being a doctor and you are doing your 12th and you say, I don't want to study anymore? I mean, what kind of nerves are needed to make that choice? I'm just amazed.
And Guru Shivo, to tell you, I am terrified of my father. My father is known as Hitler, actually. Everybody is terrified of him. If he's sitting in the living room, or the entire family will sit in the bedroom. If he's sitting in the bedroom, so we are so terrified for him. And I'll tell you, one of the most nerve-wracking, point, standing up to him and telling him that, think about it, I got an admission to become a doctor. Many of my friends had to pay lakhs of rupees to become a doctor, and I got on my merit. I was a distinction student. And so I to stand up to him, and I was somebody that I never spoke to him. I was so scared of him that probably I spoke to him just like happy Diwali or happy birthday. That's it. No conversation, absolutely terrified. But I don't know from where I got the courage to stand up to him and tell him that. And I didn't even ask them. I did not ask my parents. I actually went to my college, first day of college. I got my admission out, and I went back home. And I told my parents that that's it, I'm not going to study and I'm going to be a wellness coach. And I always, whenever I share my story with my team, I always tell them that today when I go, I'm an international speaker, people clap for me, but I tell them on that day I got clapping on my face, you know. And you can imagine, you know.
I have to really say, someone who can make this kind of choice, who can stop that person?
Yeah.
Whatever come what may, that person is going to succeed. Really, I'm just amazed. And I would like to ask just one more question from you. During this journey of building your business, would you like to share what was your greatest nerve-wracking moment? And what
Nerve-wracking.
caused, yes, and what caused you to come out of it and with flying colors? You must
So
have
like
faced so many, because this
like
is
you
very
said, yeah,
unusual to create a business on this model, isn't it?
yeah.
So you must have
So
faced a lot of nerve-wracking moments.
yeah, so
So
I've been
I
into
want
this
to add one thing, Snehal,
yeah,
because I got to talk to you. I want to add
yeah,
one thing. So Snehal did not have a safety net, okay?
yeah,
She had very humble beginnings. I just, for people who think that she's making this choice, but she has a safety net. She has a safety net of her parents' assets and all, nothing.
no,
So when she is saying that she's standing in front of her father, saying no to medical degree, which is a sure shot way. In some ways, it is a very stable career, a very reputed career. So she has nothing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
she shared me what were the financial conditions. So this girl has nothing. Okay. Yes.
Thank you,
Honestly.
Mansi. And like I said, now this March, I'll be completing 20 years of being an entrepreneur. Okay. So I started when I was 17 and I'm 37 now. So 20 years into this industry, to be very honest, Guru Shivo, I was just talking to Mansi, what challenge do you want me to talk about? Because I think in this last 20 years, I have been through all the challenges that I think everybody goes through. A health scare in their life. Everybody goes through a financial challenge. Everybody goes through a relationship challenge. I think everybody goes through a challenge where they lose their loved ones, and then to recover from that. And to be very honest, I have gone through all those challenges. I have been, even though I am into this industry, and like I said, our family had been sick. I personally have gone through, 10 different kinds of surgeries. I've overcome that. And many people, say that it is so difficult to come back to shape. I've been at my idle weight for last 20 years in spite of all those health challenges. And, we run our fitness and breakfast studios. We have almost 30 fitness and breakfast studios in India. And to talk about our challenges, Guru Shivo, like I told Bansi, probably we'll have to do one more session, if I want to talk one by one, about all the challenges I went through. But one thing that I've learned is that most people look for answers outside, and one of the reason we want to educate people about wellness is because if you put food in front of animals, they will just sniff it and they will know that it is healthy for them or not. Like if you put a pizza in front of a dog, they won't have it. They know that it is unhealthy. If you put an apple, they will have an apple. And animals have those instincts. But we human beings, we want to go to a nutritionist. We want to go to a dietitian. We want somebody to give us written down exactly what do we eat and what do we not to eat, So what we are teaching, me and Rakesh, and I want Rakesh also to share his story because he has also done some nerve-wracking thing to be part of this industry. And so what we are teaching people is using their instincts. We don't need to ask anybody what I'm supposed to eat and what I'm not supposed to eat. You just go inward, listen to yourself. And personally, what me and Rakesh, our dream is that if you go to China, in China there is a doctor who gives you herbs every single day, and his job is to keep you healthy. But if you fall sick, he will treat you free because his job is to keep you healthy. So if you're falling sick under his care, he's taking that responsibility and he's treating you free. And that is what we want to do. We want that in India people should take wellness coaches seriously. And people should have wellness coaches who will help them be healthy throughout their life so that they don't have to visit doctors after they become sick, or at least terminally sick. That is what our goal is, okay? And maybe Rakesh can chip in to share his story right now.
So hi guys, my name is Rakesh. Again, to be with Snehal, you have to go through that kind of struggle. You can't have an easy life and be with Snehal. It's not possible. But no, for me, by background, I'm a network engineer. I worked in US for almost 4.5 years before I came here. Again, coming from a very humble background, 8 people in the family. We moved from Mangalore. My parents came from Mangalore with nothing. And given a very standard life that you have to study, you have to educate yourself, you have to settle, you have to get married, you need to home. So it was a career manual which is given to every middle class family. So I had the same career manual, and but then life had something else for me. After my daughter was born, I had to make a very strong decision, and that time I was in the US. I had to make a very strong decision that if I am going to continue this 9 to 5 job or 10 to 7, whatever time, I cannot give time to this new life. And if I have brought her in this life, it is my responsibility to give time. And the second most important thing was that like we were just here alone, me and my wife. My entire family was back in India. So I wanted her to be around her grandmother, grandfather, relative, friends, uncle, auntie, because that's where kids really grow. And it's truly said that you need an entire village to raise a child. It's not just a father and mother's responsibility. So I had to make a very strong decision. I quit my job. My bosses thought that I'm crazy. They thought that probably because of all the pregnancy and everything, probably I lost my mind, because I was in the process of green card. I was supposed to get citizenship in US. So I quit my job, went back to India. And from a network engineer, I decided one thing: if my reasons are right, I will be successful in any field, because skills can be developed over years. It's not about, I'm stuck with one field. I cannot leave my field ever in my life. So I knew that if you have skills, if you have this right reason, you can do anything in life. So I went back to India. I started learning about nutrition, health, and it was a completely different U-turn. And it was nerve-wracking because my family thought that my life is set as a network engineer. Now he doesn't have to worry. And now I stopped everything. I studied of network engineering for 15 years,
and we had a townhome, so we can actually see our townhome from the balcony now that we are living right now. So we had a townhome here, he had a BMW here, his green card was into process, and he goes back to his boss and say that I don't want to do anything and I want to go back and become a full-time father. Yeah. And from network engineer he decided to be a nutrition coach, so a big change. And I think that is one of the most nerve-wracking thing that I think Rakesh did. Yes. And
but as Mansi said, actually we had a safety net. It's not about safety net. Our problems were our gift. Our safety net was our middle class mindset. Yeah. That was our safety net, because the more our disadvantage became our advantage for everything in our life. And how we see, people say that it's not happening with you, it is happening for you. And that's what happened throughout our life. And it has been one of the best experience of our life. And we hope that these challenges will stay in the future, because it will make us grow even more. So that's it. I know it's
even now, we are stuck here in that pandemic. We just came here for an event. For the last 11 months, we are stuck here, and we are so happy. Finally, we are going back on 24 to India. We are going to meet our family after a year. So we are really excited to come back to India. And I'm sure that when everything goes back to normal, when we have our offline events, we'll get to meet all of you in person. Okay. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much, Snehalji and Rakeshji.
Snehal and Rakesh, your story was so inspiring, and how you made very difficult choices, and probably you were accessing something which was very, very powerful. And just one thing to add, probably you would love to know about the quantum processes, because why we eat certain kind of food, there is a subconscious reason for that.
Yes.
True.
And if we want people to let go of that kind of food, you have to work on their subconscious. Yes. So that is one aspect. Another aspect is the guidance from superconscious. So in one of my own sadhana, I used to invoke Ma Annapurna and Ma Rati, and I used to say, please help me love the food that is healthy. Yes, and that is what happened actually. I started to love the healthy food actually. Yeah. So this is the power of cosmic superconscious. So I really, really welcome you to experience our processes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And for the entire community, our niche is, we introduce our people, Indian people, to the Indian wisdom, because I feel that India has so much of wisdom in the food. If you see right now, the Western world is marketing turmeric, they're marketing ghee and everything, but we've been using it for thousands of years in our food every single day, you know. So we are just educating people about that, going back to our roots, Ayurveda and yoga, and you know, everything that we are doing. You know, so if anybody, you know, we love to serve all of you to be, you know, in this community. So if you are interested, do connect with us. And thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Sure,
Thank you
sure.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being there. We were talking about wellness. We were talking about the medical professionals. So it seems all of it is taking us again to a doctor. And I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Rudagi. I'm sorry, doctor, we really had to keep you waiting for so long. Again, somebody from our own, very own Quanto family. Welcome, Dr. Rudagi. Somebody who calls
Thank you so
himself
much.
very humble, and during our conversation he made a statement that was really something that really amazed me. So I want to share that before we speak to Dr. Rudagi. He said, when a patient is treated feels good, I really want to see that patient again walk into my room, into my clinic, and tell me that the treatment had been very profound, very effective, and that he's feeling good. So, as a doctor, he really wants to have that response be told to him. Dr. Rudagi, please elaborate on the statement.
Thank you so much, everyone. Pranam Shivji. And you kept my session at the last. It is a good thing. Like continuing with the doctor session become a little difficult for people. You know, here.
Are we audible?
Yes,
Yes,
perfectly,
listening.
perfectly.
Yes.
I made a statement regarding the patient satisfaction. See, we operate for nearly 6 to 8 hours continuously. After operating, the patient is shifted to ICU, and after the ICU period gets over, he'll go home. And when he comes back with a smiling face with his family to meet us, that really gives a great satisfaction to us. That whatever skill, experience, knowledge we have put everything together in that particular patient, and we are getting a satisfactory face. So that makes us
So that, Dr. Rudagi, that brings us back to the same theme that we have been discussing. As a doctor, as a medical
yes.
professional, when you talk about the patient satisfaction, please do mention what type of nerve-wracking situations you have had in your life.
Yeah,
And
I also
yes,
heard, I also heard about you that there were patients who
Uh,
were accused by.
Shivo, can I introduce him? Can I just
Yeah, please.
introduce? Because I think, you know, we don't know what he really, so let me take the opportunity. Dr. B.M. Rudagi is a oral and maxillofacial surgeon. He is the professor and department head of oral and maxillofacial, sorry, doctor, facial surgery. He has 20 years of experience. He has 60 national and international publications, 4 innovation patents. He's been the guest and keynote speakers at so many conferences and workshops. He's performed very special head and jaw surgeries. I remember Kavita was just sharing that you know, there was a patient with half jaw broken and you were able to graft skin from his or part from his leg and put it there. So it's really just amazed to have you here. And while you're very known in the Quanto family, we have a lot of guests. So I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you to a larger audience today.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah, and to play with, I mean, to play amidst of so much of the blood, and the person is in, you know, so much of the pain, and to maintain your nerve in that moment and to be able to operate correctly. I'm just amazed by that kind of a, I wouldn't say ability, but I would say the state of being that you can be in so much of the chaos and you can put the order back. That's really amazes me. Yes,
Thank you.
please. So can we know from you what was your biggest nerve-wracking moment? What was that one biggest operation, and how do you manage that?
See, as Dr. Gautam mentioned in the earlier session, that the observation and the patient should be the part of our life. I do agree with him. Once I was sitting in my OPD and one of my junior colleague was operating in the operation theater. And I was sitting, I was looking at so many patients, and I got a call from the anesthetist. Dr. Rudgi, come to OT immediately, otherwise you will lose your patient. And I literally ran in the corridor, and I reached the OT. While running, I was removing my shirt buttons and the pant buttons, everything. I threw it in the changing room. I wore whatever the dress was there. I went into the OT. That time, 4 people with 8 hands, they were holding on the neck of the patient to control the bleeding. Then I went there, the whole floor was red, filled with blood. Then I wore glove. Then I started searching for the bleeder. It was an external carotid artery, which is a major artery which supplies the face and the brain also. So initially we controlled with pressure, it was not coming up. Simultaneously, we ordered for the blood. We started transfusion of the blood. Then we slowly started dissecting. Then we caught the bleeder. Then we tied it. Then by that time, patient was into hypotension. Then after the massive transfusion, the patient came back and he was out of the OT. Then after 3-4 days, we discharged the patient. See, during this period, nothing comes to our mind. I don't remember anything, and I don't nothing is there in our head except what I can do there, what best I can achieve, and how can I save my patient's life. Only this much comes to that situation. Then after the OT, when I came out of the OT, one of my OT assistants said, "Sir, look at your dress." I said, "What happened to my dress?" "Sir, your dress is full of blood." Then I saw at my shirt and this thing, OT dress. Then I realized how much blood I was almost soaked in the blood, literally soaked in the blood. Then I have to order for a hot water. Then I removed the clothes. I took the bath in the OT complex itself. Then I went home and this thing. So at this moment, we don't remember anything, like it is a dire emergency. We have to perform at any cost, whether my BP is shoot up, whether I have diabetes, whether whatever is there, it is my duty to do it. I have to save that patient's life at that moment. So I did it successfully. That patient went home walking. Later on, I sat and started thinking the events, how the things went on. Then I realized, yes, we did a good job, and by the God of grace, by the blessings of the God, I could save that patient's life. So the same thing what Dr. Pardon me?
Yes. So it's a series of nerve-wracking moments in your life.
Yes.
You give one after another. Truly admire.
As Snehal was mentioning about oral cancer cases and other things, I do operate in many oral cancer cases. There were situations in my life, like the families of the cancer patients become so close to me. I have attended the funeral of those patients many a times, and which most of the times I don't tell Kavita. Yeah, I went and attended the funeral. These were the situations I have faced.
So Kavita, would you like to share something about your husband? Maybe there is something you can say which is beyond what he can say.
Shiva, I think Arohi also wants to say after that.
Arohi, you want to say something?
I think Arohi wants to say something.
About your dad? Yeah, what is that? Yes, come on.
Yeah. Sorry, we're all in the night dress. Yes, Shivo. One thing I definitely want to say is like what you discussed and what you teach us in what you hold us through is observation, and Gautamasa also said about observation. I see this amazing quality in him. I'm not just saying this because he's my husband, but when he is operating, there is no
I was just asking him, Prachiti wanted to know more about him. He was asking me. I said, you tell whatever you feel like, not what I want to tell. So you know what he said? For me, my patients and my family are the same. So that is from where he operates, and I've seen that dedication. And this is a complaint, but somewhere that also makes me proud is most of the New Year's he's not at home because of New Year events. He's like, there are a lot of road traffic accidents happening. There are a lot of facial injuries happening. Most of the time, you won't believe, from 10 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock, he's in the OT. So this is a complaint from a wife, but as a doctor, I really feel proud of the service that he gives. I want to share one incident if I have 2 minutes.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. This is something like, I was doing my post-graduation in Loni, and he got a call from Shirdi. There's a multi-specialty hospital in Shirdi. Okay, so he got a call that there's a complicated face fracture, and he went. So I thought it is a private case, and he went early morning around 5:30, left, and came back almost like 10 o'clock in the night. So I was like, okay. Then the next day I was just talking to him. I said, okay, so we were just discussing about the financials and all the other day about something. And I asked, okay, so you did a private case. So, we had some things that had to be, because we were just beginning to settle down as youngsters. So I asked him, how much did you charge? He said, I did not charge a rupee. I was kind of like, why haven't you charged anything? I mean, I want to show this compassionate part of my husband to the whole world today. Is he said there was a lady who was sleeping with a small baby, and the wall fell. She was a laborer, and the child expired there itself. They couldn't save the child, and this lady, you name the bone on the face, the whole face was fractured. And he stood there and he operated her. And when he got to know her story, he said, I am not going to take a single rupee from this person. It's so their blessings would be enough for me. So this is a kind of a compassionate heart he has. He's less expressive. He's exactly the opposite of me. And I'm
Kavita, I would, because you are calling it a complaint, so I could not bear it. So I take this opportunity to just put in my idea. It is all because of such dedicated doctors that we who have undergone, accidents and things like that, we owe our life to such doctors. And when you mentioned that on New Year's Eve you would not have him around to celebrate, I am reminded of a doctor because there was one with me in the ICU, and I did mention this to him. He had, I had undergone that surgery, something that was an emergency, and then suddenly this person doctor, because he kind of brought me back to the time frame, and he says that it was that auspicious time when everybody parties. So but then if he would have gone with his family, probably I wouldn't be here talking to anybody for that matter on the forum. So doctors, there are such almost embodiment of gods. Thank you so much for their dedication. We really owe our precious life. Thank you, Dr. Rudagi.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, over to you, Mansi.
Thank you, Prachiti. I want to say that in US sometimes dentists get a very bad, sometimes they get a reputation, and because of the way the insurance is set up sometimes. But hearing the stories of Dr. Rudagi and his compassionate heart, and just the fact that he goes to funerals. I mean, he is having such a busy workload, and heart, it is not where he goes, but it just shows his heart. Dr. Rudagi, this is really something we will take home, and this is something I will be sharing whenever there is a dentist story that is shared in parties and in get-togethers, and insurance story I'm going to share. So thank you for this, Dr. Rudagi. Thank you for your service.
One last sentence.
And
Feeling so blessed.
we are blessed. And you know, Doggy, we are so blessed to have Kavita and your kids as a part, and we would love to catch up more with you in later sessions. We'd just love to know more about you.
I'm so blessed is because I always, you know, last Quanto Leap I met, I said, I want my family to be part of Quanto. Mansi, today my mother-in-law is there. She's joined with the name Jayashree.
Pranam, auntie.
Wow. And I have a few of our nephews who have joined. And I feel the circle so complete. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shivo and Mansi and whole Quanto family. Thank you so much.
Oh, love you all. And because we're talking about families, I want to share our team, because there is so much that you see that is happening here, but there is so much that goes behind the scenes. And I'm going to start sharing in no particular order. I want to thank Prachiti for all the work. You see her here introducing people, but behind the scenes, you know, she's working on connecting with these honorees in really creating she's the first communication of Quanto Life with the honorees. And she really gets them to the place of comfort where they know us, and then it unfolds over here. She is involved in many aspects like creating certificates. We didn't share it today, but we do share our token of love and gratitude, which we will with all our honorees. I want to thank on Rupali, who will every week will ask that, okay, you know, what is our audience? How much audience do we need? And then she will work on taking on some Devdut who will take the message of Quantos to different groups, to different people, and attract heroes. As you know, Shiva always says, he doesn't want to sit here and give pravachan. He wants to create heroes. So for him to do that, for Atin, we have Rio, who is like our technical, our digital genius, who creates our amazing posters and all, but he was not available, and we had Atin Sten. And I know Atin had this battle of nerves. We on his head, we were on him, to deliver. And Atin, you are an amazing sidekick, but thank you for stepping in this role and rescuing us. And Atin always invokes Sheshnak ji. So today he was working for the other side. He was batting for the other side with Garuda ji. So thank you so much for that, Atin. I want to thank Mukul, who is always, he is our Quanto critic, and in the best possible way, he tells us our blind spots, what we are missing, and he's completely committed to us. So we, you know, he always has his eyes, ears, and everything open for opportunities for us and opportunities for others. Yes, and he was called Quanto Shani because he is like wants the discipline, order, organization, and he will tell, and also the rebel, he will tell you as it is, you know. I also wanted to, so these are, and of course, Shivo, we are all like working, this whole public events team works under Shivo. So thank you, Shivo, for being our guide, and I could write a book about that. But I also want to share our core team. Guys, I know I'm going to flake out here, so I'm going to look in the chat. But I want to share Nitika, who is an amazing leader and who is running the DYC program. Preeti, who is a brilliant psychic. And if you're in the DYC, this woman can just step into other people's past lives. And she is just an incredible talent. We have Ranjana, the family builder you met, Kavita, who is an amazing healer on all levels, master healer. We have, who am I missing? We have Dirga, who runs the Akhandiya program, which is everyday sadhana, you know, because sadhana doesn't just happen when you are in crisis. It's everyday sadhana, and she keeps that diya alive. We have, who else am I missing?
Rupali.
Yes, and dear Rashi. Rashi is she's an amazing HR person, but she also brings many psychic gifts, and I think she's poised where she is going to make a leap into the unknown. You know, she's just poised at that, and I'm really excited. And then we have we have all the kids, all the families are also a part of this, you know. So really, really thank you and just love you guys. Every time I'm thinking I will do it at the end and we will honor them, but that ending doesn't come. So today I just thought of jumping in. So thank you so much.
And
Love
Mansi,
you
too.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So really, really 3 cheers. And Shivo, if I could now ask, getting more into Garuda energy. Shivo, you here? Yeah.
Yes. So now we are getting into the phase of invocation.
You're getting.
So
Shiva, could you share one more characteristics of? I just briefly, if you could say a few sentences.
Yeah, I would like to get into more devotional aspects of Garuda, more mysterious aspects of Garuda. Till now,
Yes.
we have been looking at the victory aspects and the worldly aspect, but the Garuda as the soul liberator. And now this is the battle of nerves. You know, when somebody dies, the soul leaves, and it has a lot of heavy parts, it has a lot of light parts, and there are a lot of subconscious conditioning, and there is a lot of purity of soul. Everything is playing role into where the soul goes. And there are a lot of negative spirits. uh, there are ghosts and asuras who are trying to catch the soul and include that into their own, into their own gang. And how do they work? Basically, everybody has got the darkness inside, the subconscious, and they are trying to throw the hooks and catch that soul from there. And if the soul has got a lot of hooks, then that soul can get easily trapped. So so now it is, there are pure souls which don't have that kind of strong hooks, and they can simply go to their soul world. But what about the soul which are like, somewhere in between? So that's where the Garuna comes for help. And so that is why a lot of you must be knowing that after somebody dies, a lot of people, the Garuna part, they recite something called the Garuna Purana. And it is because Garun is the deity, the divinity, which will carry a soul into the liberated world, into the soul world. We have had lots and lots of practical experiences. During the Quanto processes, we have been invoking Garud so many times, especially in our Vansh Mukti program. And we have had so many practical case studies where the ancestors of people appeared in front of people who were invoking Garud, and they requested for their liberation. There were sometimes many unknown people, they were appearing. Sometimes there were souls which were troubling, and then we invoked Garudaji, and then even those souls got liberated. So he is really the liberator of souls. So today, when we invoke Garud, we are going to, okay, so it is basically his, again, his strong nerves, which, because of which he is able to carry the soul which are not totally pure, even those souls, into the soul world. Because it is because of his power of nerves. Again, their nerves are important. So now we will be invoking the Garun Dev, and the two issues we can take up. Either you can check up anybody who died, for in your family or in your friend circle or anyone else, and you want to check up if those people are liberated or not, and if you want to help them liberate, so you can remember them in today's invocation. Second thing you can take up is develop your own ability, your own nerves in those nerve-wracking crunch situations. So what you can do is you can feel those situations which were nerve-wracking, and actually you did not take that opportunity, you did not take the leap, and you came back fearing. So you fear for those situations. Or if you are facing any nerve-wracking situation at this moment. So these are the kind of imprints we are going to take. Okay. So are we ready for invocation? So just give me a minute or two. Yes. And
Shivu, so is there any breathing that different you're going to do, because we might have some new people with
yeah,
us?
so we will, Mansi, in the meantime, what you can do is you can explain the humming.
Okay.
And yeah, humming is, we make a sound which is very similar to the sound of Om. So all of us know there is a sound of Om. The whole cosmos is singing the sound of Om. And that is the sound we make in the humming. And what happens is, in making that sound, we actually get connected with the cosmic vibrations. So the humming is the best pranayam to connect you to the cosmic consciousness. And the second breathing we'll do here is Anulom Vilom, which awakens our third eye. That is again a place for our, the spot where we can actually hold the nerves. That is our third eye. So these are the two pranayams. So yeah, Mansi, can you take everyone through this?
Sure. Shiva, I just want to share that when I was invoking Garuda ji, the wings, I could feel his wings, and the sound I was getting was of humming. Like, that was my experience. I did not even think about it connected to humming, but so for all the people who are new, I know our Quantos already know this. So
So what we can do is, when we are humming, we can also feel his wings, sound of his wings.
that is what I felt. I felt like this. Yes, thank you. Okay. And so the humming would be, so for throughout this invocation, please sit comfortably with a straight spine, shoulders back, heart open, and keep your eyes closed throughout. And for humming, we are going to breathe in, and when we breathe out, we're going to keep our mouth closed. There can be a little gap, but it will be mostly our lips closed. And you breathe in, and you breathe out, making the sound. So you will feel the vibration first in your lips, and slowly you will feel that vibration spread everywhere. Your whole body will be humming. The next is the Anulom Vinulom. So for that, actually that is also the Vishnu Mudra. So, this is how you go in with your right hand. You go into the Vishnu Mudra. I mean, the most important thing, we are not doing it completely from the yogic, we are doing it from a vibrational point of view. What you want to do is, you want to breathe in through one nostril, hold it, and release through the other nostril. Breathe in through the other nostril, hold, and release through the other. So this is how I will do it. Breathe in through one nostril, hold it, and then breathe out. And then I will close that nostril. Okay. I will breathe in through that other nostril, close it, hold it, and then release through the other nostril. So it is really alternate nostril breathing that you're doing. Okay. Yeah, we'll just wait. Does anyone want me to demonstrate either again? Or even if the Anulom Vilom doesn't come, what you want to do is, you want to breathe in through one nostril. Okay. You want to breathe in through one nostril, hold it, and then release it. and then breathe in through the alternate nostril and do that process. So you're just breathing in through alternate nostrils and holding it.
Mansi, after the exhaling, can I have one doubt?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. When we are inhaling, hold, then exhaling in the other nostril.
Yes. So I am inhaling. Yeah, I'm inhaling through the left. I'm holding it, and then I am releasing through the right, right? And then I will breathe in through the right. Hold it, and then let go through the left.
So my question
Yes.
is, inhale.
And you can also keep your finger on the third eye. That will also help you.
Yeah.
So breathe in from one
Oh,
nostril.
okay. So the middle finger on the third eye. Okay.
Yeah. And breathe out from the other. Now you will breathe in from here only. Breathe out from here. So this, after we first we awaken our crown, and then we awaken our third eye, and then we will go into the Garuda invocation.
Shiva, my question is, doubt is, when we are exhaling, after also we have to hold the kumbhak.
No, don't hold. Just, it is a very natural process. Don't exert yourself into holding it. Okay. It's naturally.
So Raghu, those 2-3 times, no, it will feel like you have to think, but then it will become natural. As you keep doing it, right, it will become very natural.
Okay. Yes, Mansi. So you can just yeah. Let's begin with the.
Yes, Shivo, could you lead us?
Yeah. Okay. So
You have a very special connection to Garuda ji, so if you could lead us.
So everyone take a comfortable position, preferably a position from where you can go directly into Shavasana or even sleep. We would prefer that you go directly into sleep after this. In case you cannot, you can also get up after 10-15 minutes of Shavasana. Okay.
Yeah, and just some housekeeping that we will after Shivo takes you to Shavasana, we will turn off we'll close the meeting. Okay, and y'all can continue in Shavasana, and please let us know your experience in the Deva Magic group. Okay, whenever you wake up today or tomorrow, please let us know. Yes,
and
sorry.
we keep our hands open because we want to connect with the whole cosmos. So we don't make any mudra. This is a complete open mudra, and you can keep those hands on your feet. Okay, and keep the feet position also open. If you want to keep the feet down, that is also okay. But I think this is called Ardha Sukhasana. So it's not like Padmasana, but both sides the feet are open. Okay, or whatever you feel that is more comfortable for you is okay. So here the techniques are important, but not of primary importance. What we are feeling is more important. Okay, so we don't have to be perfect, but try to follow the correct technique, but don't be overburdened about it. So take a few deep breaths. With every breath, feel more and more relaxed. Breathe deep. And now we'll scan our body from head to toe. So feel your forehead, starting from top of your head, forehead, feel the back of your head, your eyes, your cheeks, your temples, your nose, your mouth, your jaws, your chin. Feel whole of your face. Feel your neck, Feel your shoulders, your elbows, your arms, your palms, your fingers and thumbs. Feel your chest, top of your back. Feel your spinal cord, middle of back, and the bottom of your back. Feel your chest, your stomach, your navel, your lower stomach, your hips, your waist, your genitals, thighs, knees, legs, ankles, heels, sole, the feet, and the toes. Now you can feel your whole body. And now we invoke quantum vibrational field. We will say quanto thrice, and we will experience the vibrational field all around us. Quanto, quanto, quanto. You can feel the quantum vibrational field all around you. It is entering through your fingers, through your thumbs, through your palms, through your hands, through your face, your top of your head, shoulders, and whole of your body. It is entering, penetrating your aura and penetrating your body. Feel the quantum vibrational field entering you. You can feel quantum vibrational field inside your body and around your body in your aura. And now we'll do some humming. So close your mouth, touch the tip of your tongue to the top of your mouth and make the humming sound. As you are humming, your whole body is vibrating like an empty vessel. Listen to the flutter of the wings of Garuda. Feel the Garuda descending on you. Feel the presence of Garuda. And now we'll do some Anulom Vilom. Let's do it a few times, maybe 7, 8 times. You are opening your third eye space for Garuda to enter there. You have opened your third eye space for Garuda to enter there. And now you can feel your nerve-wracking moments. Are you facing any extremely difficult choice right now? Or did you face it at some point of time in your life? If you emerged a victor out of that crunch situation, then be in gratitude for that. And if you buckled down, you got scared with that challenge, then feel the fear of that. Where do you feel that fear in your body? Is it in your forehead? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your heart? Is it in your stomach? Or anywhere else in the body? Feel the fear of those crunch situations which got you scared. Let Garuda take those situations away. Let Garuda take that fear away and make you ready so that you can pass through those situations. Is anyone appearing in front of you who died in your knowledge? maybe someone in your family, in your friend's family, or anyone else. Or maybe you don't know. Anybody can appear in front of you. You can even remember some of the people if you want to check whether they got liberated or not. Just take their names. If they are not liberated, they may appear in front of you. They have an opportunity to ride on the back of Garuda and go back to their soul world safely, even if they have been trapped by any gangs who want to keep them there enslaved. Garuda Dev Ji can still make them free, liberate them. Offer whatever is coming up to Garun. Let him take away all your fears, all the hooks of subconscious through which you can be trapped. Let him shower you with that power of nerves and mental strength. And now we'll go in deep Shavasana. Keep equal weight on both sides of your body and just relax. Keep your hands on the sides of the body as far as possible. And now we will end the meeting. Please don't forget to share your experiences on the group. Thank you very much for joining us.